Hey, we are live. WeatherBrains episode number 570 for December 19th. This is the pre-show, the magical time of the show where many outrageous things are said. We share boring personal stories and humorous anecdotes.
I resemble that.
So, Bill and Brian, you can now share some boring stories.
I need some advice from one of you two Apple experts.
Uh-oh.
Do you recommend the Apple Watch? Brian, do you have one?
I do not have one. James has one.
Okay. All right, James. Should I invest $900 in an Apple Watch?
What?
Well, I mean, if you're going to have a nice band and you're going to have, I mean,
come on, man. I got the cheapest band they make here. I mean, I got the cheap band, the cheapest watch.
Well, I can't wear that to important international functions with Putin and stuff like that. I mean,
oh, brother.
I mean, by the time you buy the spare band, 'cause you have to have the nice band and the $50 spare band, and then you have to.
No, I just have one. I have one band.
$900.
I have the cheap band that came with it.
Do you have the Series 1 or the Series 2?
The first one. This is the very first one.
Do you miss having the GPS or any of that in the?
No. So my purposes for this thing, the two main purposes. Number one, by far, is health. The health metrics. It keeps up with everything. You've got a base. It's always there.
But if you're going to run, you need the GPS for your running app.
Well, I don't run. I do not run. I work in a gym. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, it's the notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will be at functions often where it's considered rude to pull out your phone. And
it may be rude later on to pull out your watch.
So it's not
It's
not rude to check the time every 30 seconds.
You just kind of a little subtle glance down, and you can do some amazing things on this thing. And then don't expect to use it like a phone. It's not a phone. It's not an iPad. It's a watch. And if you're going to need to do some stuff with it, the best thing to do is to use Siri and just talk with it.
So you can do Siri through the phone?
You do the watch.
The watch. That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You just I'm not going to do it now, but I could tell it to, make a phone call or send a text message or whatever, and it just does that, and it works very well. The new operating system's nice. It's got a little dock at the bottom with all your apps that you use fairly often. And I answer the phone with this thing. And again, I can't talk on the phone in the studio or when I'm talking. And often when the phone rings, it's at a weird time, and I can just answer the phone on my watch, and it works very well. But for me, the two big things are notifications and health. And with notifications, you can typically respond if it's a tweet or whatever. You can respond right there on the watch just by talking into it. So, but I would not spend $900. No, I would not do that. It's not. I think I spent 200 something. Is the lowest end thing I could do. So,
my family has arrived.
The lowest end, Bill, is 42 millimeter case is $299.
Well,
the white band doesn't look bad.
My family has arrived with treats for me.
Oh, we should do WeatherBrains from your house.
Come on over.
I mean, this hasn't offended anybody. It might offend our WeatherBrains viewers, but this white band I wear.
Well, I went to the Apple store today, and they didn't have any Series 2 left. And I want the Series 2 because of the GPS functionality. That's one good reason, is to not have to carry my my phone while I'm running.
That I don't know.
But they have none in stock, so I have to wait till January to get it. That's kind of depressing.
Can't you order it online?
You can, but it comes January 3rd through the 9th.
Oh.
Typically, if you talk with the guys at the Apple store, they'll under the table give you a call if they get a stock in.
Oh, well, I don't have that kind of influence. The lady at the Apple store.
They will for some people, Bill.
I was going to say.
Even those of us that work there don't get that kind of service.
I even dressed up more a suit today. Hey, get out of here, you bum. Hey, John. So, anyway.
So what's on the snack menu for tonight?
Some kind of frozen treat. I'm not sure what this is. It's some like a frosty
good.
sort of, but it probably came from Costco because I think that's where they've been. So
I have some
yeah, that looks good.
Pop Secret popcorn. Dinner of Champions.
Yeah, I lose weight just by going to work now because James doesn't have any goodies in there for me to pilfer.
And no, there's one thing of cookies in here we've had since the Walmart trip we took back in the summer. I guess they're probably stale by now.
I need to.
Have you examined the expiration date on that thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I might not trust that.
I think not.
We need to have like a Biggest Loser campaign, James. I need some incentive.
What do you mean, man? You lost all your weight 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, I lost 73 pounds, but I've gained about 18 of it back. So I'd like to lose those 18 again.
Solid ice cream you're sucking down there.
Yeah.
Blame Elle for that because she brought it. So
Hey,
I see Gary Lezak over there.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
See you, hear you. You said you're Andy, but that's all right.
I'm about to say your name is Andy. That's nice.
That's bizarre.
Are you in the witness protection program, Gary, or something?
It's got. I don't know how to change that. It's always something. You guys have these big microphones. What's that all about?
We stole them over the years.
We
try to act like we're a big podcast.
We're kind of a big deal. We have big microphones here. No, this is the only one that makes me sound good. The Heil PR40.
James sounds like Pee Wee Herman if he doesn't have his Heil.
I do. I sound like hey, Pee Wee.
Why not? I can change my name.
I think that's the actual name that's in your Google account.
It shouldn't be.
I don't think you can change that.
I think you have to go to the courthouse to change your name, Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be Andy tonight.
Okay.
Somebody just sent a note on Twitter that you can buy a third-party Apple Watch band on Amazon for $15, and
that's why I come to the show. The good advice.
There you go. Yeah, we're all here. Nate's out.
Oh,
Nate's not been. Who made Nate mad? He hadn't been on the show in like a month or two.
he has 35 kids, doesn't he, or something?
I thought changing the time might help him, but no, he didn't.
Yeah, and we need to talk about that time change. We debated. We just, for those that are watching, and we're all family here. We're talking about maybe changing the start time of the show to 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, because the problem is with Aubrey. You got the newscast at 10. The newscast at 10, and you have to go deal with that. And it's like and we would like to have a deal where you and Kevin can participate more. In my problem, even on the late news for me, often the show runs so long that I have to leave, and so if we started early, I could be here for the whole time, and you and Kevin wouldn't have to leave, but I think Kevin still goes home for dinner. I gave up trying to go home on Monday nights. Back then, I did another podcast tonight. I did the Matt and Matt show, which was fun. But I don't go home on Monday nights anymore. So we'll do a vote. We'll send a secret ballot around. But we're talking about that for maybe next year. The other issue that I've not talked with the folks here about, this is also on television, and we have to be sure they're cool with that, because this thing's been running at 8:30 Central for a long time. In fact, we're about to go on television in about 2 minutes. And the minute we go on television, we can start this sucker.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. You're looking good. You're sounding good. We've had no issues. So
2 weeks in a row.
And Aubrey gets the award for getting her picks in better than anybody else.
Yay!
Wow.
Does this make up for my lack of Christmas cards this year?
It's okay with me.
We're still on the tail end of this remodel, and we didn't have a chance to do anything.
Likely story.
I know.
So,
yeah, I thought it was funny. Of all the names on our Christmas list, my wife looked at yours and said, "Who in the world is this?"
You mean I'm not popular down there in Helena, Alabama?
Well, the funny part was, Aubrey, I had to look at it for a minute and think, oh yes, it's that's not her real name. That's just her fake name.
That'll get you. Oh yeah, because it was under my maiden name. Okay.
Yes. Yep. No, it's under your married name.
Oh, my married name. Yeah, that one. It gets me too. I look at it sometimes and I go, "Who the heck is that?"
I got a gift from Brian already.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
This is awesome, Brian. I don't.
Look at that.
Have you read it?
I'm overwhelmed by. No, I'm going to read it. I think around the family time, Christmas Eve. I'm going to read this.
It's wonderful.
Dinosaurs wear underpants.
No, love underpants.
Oh, love underpants. Okay.
I did get your Christmas card, Brian. Though it was very lovely.
Thank you.
All right. So
and I thank
Gary.
Walgreens.
We are
paid political announcement for Walgreens.
We are almost at the bottom of the hour. The minute I see ourselves on television, ideas coming up, and just like that, we are live on television. Welcome to our TV friends. It is 8:30 Central Time on Monday evening. WeatherBrains is about to begin. The gang is all here, so we're going to get this thing going. So we are going to hit record button number 1, record button number 2, and here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is WeatherBrains. What?
False start.
I was waiting for something to happen, and there was this dead period.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you guys can't hear the.
No, we didn't hear anything. So.
Oh, hang on.
Something is amiss.
Oh, brother.
Houston,
on.
we have a problem.
You know, these hangout things occasionally will change the source. Oh, yeah. No wonder.
They didn't change your source, did they?
I have to route this stuff via a little virtual routing program called Soundflower. And if you don't have Soundflower, then you guys don't hear anything. That's how the magic happens here. So let's try that again. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is WeatherBrains, episode number 570. It's the Christmas edition, December 19th, 2016. It's the most marvelous, magical time of the year. Thanks so much for joining us. And we got one more show in the year ender, and then we're done until 2017. Time is flying here. So I see we have Rick Smith, who is in the midst of a horrible cold. Rick, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Those are nasty.
If I knew sign language, I would use it. No, it's this is going on week 3 of this cold, and tonight is the coughing began. I wondered why I haven't been coughing. Well, here we go. So I will be muted tonight so as to not to infect all of our listeners.
These germs do travel down the radio airwaves here. No, I saw a picture of you, the party at the Weather Service, and looked like in Norman today. Was that today when that happened? I didn't see you in the party there.
Yeah, they had we had a little Christmas thing in the operations area. Yeah, and that was taken a little bit after I left, so I missed out on the picture.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, Rick, thank you for being a trooper and being here. Brian Peters is always a trooper. Brian is the internationally beloved meteorologist who is shivering in Helena. The man, occasionally we say looks like Colonel Sanders, but always this time of the year he looks more like Santa Claus.
Absolutely.
So the question is,
this beard whiter.
Brian, are you going to make an appearance on my program Friday afternoon?
Absolutely.
Yes. For those that don't know, every year, Christmas Eve, or this year, my last day before vacation will be Friday, which is December 23rd. Brian makes an appearance, not as Brian, but as the jolly old man.
But keep it under your hat. Don't let Pam in on it.
No, I can't wait. I can't wait. That's always a fun show. So let's, and Brian, Rick, I should have asked you a minute ago, and you might have to leave early. How cold did it get in Oklahoma City with this Arctic outbreak?
We got down to 4 degrees yesterday morning, I believe, and it was close to that this morning. So yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Wind chills were well below zero, and I think actual air temperatures in Northwest Oklahoma got to like 18 below on Sunday morning, I think it was. So yeah, it's that we can move on to spring and at any time now.
Yeah, that's tough. We're kind of on the periphery of it down here in the deep south, but our son was in Cincinnati. Talk about a bonehead. This guy and a bunch of his buddies, they drive to Cincinnati every year. Why? I don't know, but they go to a Bengals game. They went to the Bengals-Steelers game, and I think it was about 25 for the whole game with a wind chill index of about 10, but thankfully they were not at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Yes.
Which was probably worse, or maybe in Kansas City, but it was brutal. So, Aubrey, how cold did it get in Harrisonburg, VA?
We got down to 12 and 13 were our overnight lows. So it was
wintry precipitation to go.
We did. We got some freezing rain in the morning. Not a lot, but enough. Most roads were treated, and it was bad. It was bad, and not as bad as Baltimore. That area. That video was just absolutely horrific.
Yeah, I saw these horrible accidents over there. Why is that? I mean, it's just like, I thought the event was well forecast and people should have known. I mean, what?
It was. I think the problem lies, and this is what, and I'm not blaming anyone, roads were treated. I'm not sure how effective the treatment is with freezing rain, but I think a lot of the problem is when you have people like truckers who are traveling through so many states possibly during a short period of time, and I'm just kind of wondering how they get that weather information that they would need to know, because it was a very well forecast event.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that during the weather roundup. But Bill's sucking down some kind of a
frozen confection.
I can't do that. I cannot eat ice cream and talk. I start to talk like I'm drunk because my mouth gets frozen. So the multi-talented Bill Murray is going to bring in our special guest star for tonight.
Yeah, James. Tonight's guest WeatherBrain is a 6-time Emmy-winning meteorologist at Channel 41 Action News, KSHB in Kansas City. Gary Lezak, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you. Very honored to be here tonight, and we have a lot to talk about. But here in Kansas City, the Chiefs lost on a last-second field goal to Tennessee. It was 4 below zero for tailgating. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
4 below zero for tailgating, and 1 degree at kickoff. And I have season tickets, and I did not go to the game. I'm a bad fan.
No.
Would you
Smart
go?
Man.
Would you guys go?
No.
No.
We don't go if it's below 72 down here.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Tickets were down to $2 per ticket, and I tried to give mine away.
I heard the Bills were like giving people a ticket if they would shovel snow for 4 hours. What kind of deal is that? Sounds like in Kansas City they would just give you the ticket.
Well, anyway, and then the Chiefs took a 14-0 lead, and it looked like it was going to warm up the fans, and then they lose on a last-second field goal, 19-17. So not good, but they're still in the playoff hunt, so it's pretty exciting here in Kansas City. And we had 2 inches of snow, our first snow. I have a snowflake contest here at 41 Action News. We predict when we're going to have our first inch of snow, and the snowflake contest ended at – hold on, just lost you guys. The forecast contest ended at 5:46 p.m. Saturday evening, and 2 people missed by 1 minute. So I have to do a drawing tonight on the 10 o'clock news. One of them will win the prize, and one of them will not.
So did you have so many entries that you covered every minute of every hour?
Well,
how do people get that?
We had over 7,000 entries. I used
Wow.
my hypothesis, the LRC, and I predicted the 16th at 6:30 p.m. for it to happen. So I missed by 1 day, and I think a lot of people picked up on that. So 342 people chose that day. 342 people chose Saturday. And so 2 people got within 1 minute. 1 person missed by 3 minutes.
Kevin had a similar experience in Wichita Falls. I think he had a lady hit it exactly to the minute. Wasn't that right?
Wow.
Brian, did you remember that story?
I don't remember that, but that would be something.
That's kind of crazy. So anyway, so these people gunning for your job, Gary, or
Well, I'll see. It's always great to talk to the one that wins, to see what their philosophy was and how they chose that date. So we'll find out tonight. But very exciting. Am I still Andy? I'm going to be Andy, aren't I?
yeah, you're Andy all night tonight. So.
I'm Andy. We can call me Gary Andy Lezak. There you go.
So you've already mentioned the LRC. We need to just go ahead and dive right into that, Gary. Tell our listening audience that hasn't talked to you before what the LRC is.
The LRC is my hypothesis I came up with many years ago. I guess it was about a year and a half ago I was on with you guys. We talked about it, and the weather pattern sets up in the fall between October 1st and November 10th, and then the pattern's always cycling. We have cyclicality in weather patterns. We have cyclicality in the universe. And so why wouldn't the weather pattern be cycling regularly? That's what the LRC is all about. It is. The weather pattern is cycling. And once you know what the cycle is and what the weather pattern is, you now know what's going to happen from this point forward. And literally in the last week, that big puzzle has come together. And it's somewhere in the 55 to 65 day range, probably close to 60-day cycle. So that means this Arctic outbreak that we just had, you can test me. James, are you listening?
He went away.
He went away, of course.
I'm here. I'm just doing something obscene you can't see on camera.
Good. The pattern we're in now will cycle back through right around February 5th, 10th to 20th. And so the pattern that just created this Arctic outbreak will return. The Arctic outbreak was not caused by what we sometimes experience, whether you hear the AO, the Arctic oscillation going negative, so that's when Arctic air can blast south. Well, the AO is positive, and yet the Arctic air blasted south. Why? It's because the pattern that we're in became capable of producing that Arctic air mass. And if you believe in my hypothesis, the pattern will return. And I'm telling you right now, 100% chance the pattern returns, and it will likely produce another major Arctic outbreak in about 2 months from now.
So is the LRC more accurate than the AccuWeather 45-day forecast?
Absolutely.
So James is probably down in a bottle of Coors Light over there behind his avatar. So I'm sure he's gearing up to ask some questions. But
I'm look. The truth is, I'm eating my lunch here, which is a bag of popcorn. And I just don't like to be rude and show
like
me eating on the air like Bill.
Well, at least it's not oxtail or something like I usually have.
And let me just chase a rat hole here. Speaking of AccuWeather, so Nate got me in some kind of Twitter ruckus with one of the ladies at AccuWeather this week. Did you guys see that?
No.
So I wrote a piece on crap apps, which has been one of my pet peeves for years. You know, these are apps, and look, come on, I gripe about our own station's app. These are automated apps with no human input. They're based on, model output statistics, and, they can be horribly wrong, and they don't help during active weather. You don't have really uncertainty communicated. You don't know if the severe weather is going to be a problem. You typically see a picture of a sun or a cloud and a high, low, and a probability of rain. Well, somebody at AccuWeather took offense to that and wrote a rebuttal, which is cool. We have to have a dialogue here. This is the only way we get better. And then Nate is the accelerant. He's the guy. He's like the Eddie Haskell of this group. Everybody thinks he's this, academic guy that never gets people in trouble. He starts these fights.
Yeah, he's a perpetrator.
So, she was offended, and then I made the mistake of bringing up the 90-day thing. I said I might not call your app a crap app if it didn't have a 90-day forecast, and boy, that was like blowing smoke up a wild bull's backside. But I invited her on the show. I said, look, come on the show. Let's talk about it. We've had Mike Smith on here. Let's talk about it. Well, the last thing I said, I promise I'll be nice. Never heard a peep back from her.
Wow.
I guess she'll never come on the show. Not really. I would love to have her on the show. I mean, we have to have a good dialogue in the weather enterprise. I think the app dilemma is a good problem. This crap app problem we have here. So anyway, Bill, I'm sorry. You guys got me thinking of that odd episode.
James, the apps you talk about, they're automated. That's the problem. They're automated, and anything that goes even 10-day forecasts, they're just automated. There very rarely are human input. And this is where the LRC comes into play on the One Weather app, One Weather. That app has our 12-week forecast on there that goes to 84 days, okay? But we can forecast 200 days into the future and get it right. Can you believe that?
Well, how specific are you talking about? Are you talking about like if I looked at the app and it says March 25th, the high is going to be 43, the low is going to be 23, and the chance of rain is 80%. Is it that specific?
No, it's not that specific. But if you're getting married, let's say you're getting married on May 31st, and it's right after Labor Day or Memorial Day, and you want to know what the weather forecast is, we can get down to a series of dates. And if you once we really know the pattern and we get within 60 to 90 days, we can get down to that day and forecast the weather of the likelihood of rain or not on your wedding day. So we did that. I'm sure we talked about it a couple years ago when I was on here, the Super Bowl outside in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We made a forecast for the Super Bowl specific date of the Super Bowl, February 2nd, 2014 outside. And that year we had a 57 to 58 day cycle. And that was not a warm winter. That was a cold weather pattern. And we used what we knew about the cycling pattern and made a forecast for it to be warming into the 50s with no chance of snow. AccuWeather, Farmer's Almanac, I can't believe I mentioned that. But AccuWeather and the others said that we would have major snowstorms, it'd be brutally cold. And our forecast was for no chance of snow, temperatures warming into the 50s. The computer models that we use, the GFS, the European model, all the models that we use, and the ones that go into the climate models go even farther, are so full of errors that even within 3 days of that Super Bowl, it was predicting a major snowstorm and brutal cold. And yet we made this forecast 28 days before the Super Bowl that year. And we got it not just a little bit right. It warmed up to 54 degrees, Super Bowl Sunday, no snow. And even that forecast that morning, our forecast 28 days before was temperatures warming in the 50s. And even the forecast that morning from most sources was upper 40s. So they missed it by 6 degrees that morning. But we can get down to a date, James, but I'm not going to claim that's what it's all about. It's really getting down to a series of dates, 2 or 3 days. If you're making a forecast for the Kentucky Derby, I can tell you what the weather pattern is likely going to be like right now. I can go look at it and tell you what I think the pattern will be. If there's no big storm, I would say there's very slim chance of any rain. It'll be a dry track for the Kentucky Derby like we forecasted last year. But then there might be a big trough that's heading towards that area that will return. And so we can make a forecast for the Kentucky Derby and get it right. That's what's possible with this, what we call breakthrough technology.
So how do you time these out, Gary? Can you share a little bit of the how you make the sausage?
Well, and if you look at the Super Bowl example and you go back to the pattern in 2013, how about this? And let me give you this example. El Reno and Moore, Oklahoma tornadoes in 2013, May 20th and May 31st. May 20th, there was the Moore tornado. And then May 31st was the disastrous El Reno tornado where we lost 3 tornado chasers, I think 5 tornado chasers that day. Superstorm Sandy occurred in late October that year. And that year we had about a 53.5 53.5 day cycle on average. It was about a 50 to 57 day cycle. One cycle could stretch to 57 days. The next cycle may be down to 50, but it averages at 53.5. So if you take Superstorm Sandy's part of the pattern and move this big trough that was heading towards New England that was going to pick up Sandy and pull it in with the blocking into the East Coast, that part of the pattern returned exactly 53.5 times 4 days later. That would be 214 days, I believe. That's May 31st. El Reno tornado is that tornado setup is directly related to Superstorm Sandy. And the Moore, Oklahoma tornado that happened 11 days earlier was a similar setup to El Reno, believe it or not. But 11 days before Superstorm Sandy, there was a severe weather outbreak, and it returned right on schedule. So how do you do it, Bill? It's a secret sauce. I can tell you, you have to believe this and then start using it. But if you know the cycle length and you know the pattern, and the pattern we're in right now is unique. Every year is different. If you know what the pattern is, and it's, let's say, a 60-day cycle, then on January 1st, it's going to be like March 1st, which is going to be like May 1st, which is going to be like July 1st. So right now, I can tell you there's a very, very good chance of a major heat wave this summer based on what we're in now, this pattern we're in, and an increasing drought. But I haven't made that forecast yet because I haven't done a complete analysis. But if you know what the pattern is going to look like, you can project forward, and the LRC is pretty much close to 100% accurate. Our human forecasts based on it are a problem. It's hard to make a forecast for every location in the United States, not to mention around the world, which is what we're doing at Weather 2020, but you can make forecasts that accurate into the future.
So Gary, how often does the pattern oscillate up and down in terms of its duration? Is that a constant process that it's going through?
The pattern's always cycling. We're working on a peer review paper right now, and so that would probably help you guys with credibility with what we're doing. And it's basically talking about cyclicality of patterns and a validation of the LRC. Everything's cycling. And so what was your question again, Bill?
So how do you know when that's changing? You just have to observe the patterns? Is that?
So the pattern is always cycling. Always. It doesn't stop. So the pattern above us is cycling, and I think you guys would agree there's cycling going on. The question in your minds will be, is it that regular? Is it that incredibly accurate and consistent? Now, I'm going to tell you it is. I've been working on it for 30 years now, and the pattern in October sets up. So the pattern's always cycling, but in October and November, when the cold air masses start coming south from the North Pole, the jet stream's getting stronger. That's when the pattern reestablishes itself and starts. And this pattern we are in now set up in the last 2 months, and now it is going to be with us through next summer. Regardless of what happens with La Nina or El Nino, those are influences, but something bigger is going on. Exactly what is it? I call it the LRC, but what exactly is it? Is it bigger than what I'm saying? Probably, but it's real, and we're using it and making accurate forecasts.
If you look at the CFS says we're going to go back into a really dry period after April, and it's going to be interesting to see if that's right, because just looking at the CFS monthlies today for a viewer question, they're petrified of drought. Of course, we're still in the middle of one here in Alabama, and don't want it to worsen. But if you looked at those monthlies and believed them, May, June, July, and August are going to be horrible here.
Yeah, it's
I'm really concerned about it. And most of the country was dry during that period.
Right. Well, and then you have other factors that lean in that direction. Is with La Nina, La Nina, I don't know if it's going to truly be a La Nina event because it's dipped a little bit below the threshold this week. So we'll see. But yes, those forecasts, the forecast that you have, I have this chart that I put out, those sea surface temperatures, SST forecasts, the global climate model forecasts, they're flawed. El Nino, La Nina, they can give you a forecast for a 90-day period, a 60-day period. But what the LRC does, it allows you to make these specific forecasts.
Well, no, I'll ask James and Brian because they're here, but the Gulf seems to be, it seems to have a really high amount of moisture available in the atmosphere over it, and with the warm sea surface temperatures that are there now, if those continue into the spring, James, do you think that's a harbinger of some bad times for us when we get to March and April in terms of severe weather?
It could be. And, my position, and I'm not smart enough like Gary to do this. I'm a grunt.
Oh, boy.
I'm in here trying to figure out the weather out to 7 days, and every bit of my time and energy is focused on that. I don't like seasonal forecast. Again, the people that I serve, I'm not in a consulting business. I'm not, selling information. I don't know what information people would do with that information, the general public. So I don't know. And it just seems like we're so neutral. And I would not be shocked, Bill, if this were to be an active tornado season, just based on kind of analogs. This looks like a 84, 85, 19 kind of winter.
James, you open up a can of worms with me here.
Go.
Oh, boy. There you go. You just hit my button. There you go. I love it. You're going to go to an analog year of 84, 85, or pick another year, all right? This is the incredible thing about the LRC. It's this year's pattern. You don't go back looking another year. This year's pattern is unique. It's not like any other year, okay? So you need to see what the pattern is now, and then you can project forward and see if you're going to have severe weather this spring. Now, how much severe weather did you have this fall? That is a very important factor, believe it or not. But Tuscaloosa Day, and I know you know that day big time, okay? April 27th. What year is that?
2011.
Okay, 2011. That year, if you knew that there was going to be a setup 60 days before April 27th, and the LRC can show you that, and I can show you how we would know that. If you knew what the weather was going to, if there was going to be a potential severe weather outbreak, wouldn't that be good to start preparing for that outbreak 60 days before rather than 4 days before, or an experimental 6-day forecast that comes out from the Storm Prediction Center? That's experimental, and yet I can show you using the LRC, we can be just as accurate 30 to 60 days out for an event as big as that one. I'll take you through it. You go back and look at that weather pattern. But it's that year, 2010, 2011. That pattern is you should be looking at what's happened this year. This is how you can use the LRC. Don't go back, look at 1984, 85. Look at this year's pattern. Use what just happened in October and November. Look where the troughs were. See how many storms you got, and you can predict whether you're going to have an active season. My feeling, without a lot of analysis, based on what we're seeing, I don't think it's going to be that active.
We went 63 days without rain, so let's don't do
Right.
that again.
Let me go back. So you're saying analogs are worthless then?
Analogs are not worthless, but the best analog is this year's pattern. So if you know it's a 45-day cycle, last year was 49.5. So if you know it's a 50-day cycle, you go back 100 days, there's a big trough that you know when it cycles back through May 20th, that it's going to produce severe weather. You know, look at that. If that returned May 20th, look at that trough. That has to set up a severe weather outbreak. But if you know it's a 50-day cycle, you can go 100 days earlier, see what that pattern looked like, and you can pick out when that will happen. And you'll end up being right.
So James, does the lady at Walmart that you like to use as your example, does she want to know that 60 days from now there's going to be a tornado outbreak?
Well, and that's the thing. We have, this is a tornado market, and we preach that people should be ready every day. I mean, we're going to have severe weather outbreaks, but let me go back to Gary. So you're saying you knew 2 months in advance that April 27th would be a severe weather day.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. And we made a forecast for it.
So here we are. This is December 19th. What's the
Right.
weather going to do here in my market on February 19th?
So what's today's date?
December 19th.
December 19th. Hold on, I gotta go look at the data. So it's December 19th, and you want February 19th?
Yeah.
Okay. The pattern now will be very similar to then. We're in roughly that kind of a cycle right now, 59, 60, 61 days. It's really 58 to 64. I think 61 is the center. That's what I believe. By January 1st, I really can iron it down. But February 19th is 62 days from now. So what the pattern we're in now will be very similar on that series of dates right then.
So what's the weather going to do that day?
Well, what are you having now?
Or what are you going to have in 2 days?
Today was overcast and cold.
Right. Overcast and cold. I'd have to. So here's how I would do it. I don't have it right in front of me here. Oh, I can do it. Let me look. I'm going to look at the pattern. I got it right here. October 18th. See, I'm looking at October 18th, which is very similar to December 17th. It's amazing. 59 days. So what you're going to have on February 16th, based on what I'm looking at here, February 16th, they're going to be in southwest flow aloft. And it'll be very similar to what's happening today.
Okay. And again, I was talking about the 19th, but so you're saying we'll have some type of overrunning with cold air at the surface, southwest flow aloft.
Because another cold air mass will have come down. And then let me look forward here. Let me look. See,
what would the maximum temperature be on the 19th?
I'd have to go do. I can't tell you right off the bat, James.
Oh, come on, man! Come on.
I could go analyze the data. I do have a forecast in, a 12-week forecast made for you, but we just figured out the cycle, so they're going to become ridiculously accurate from this point forward. But that's what you would use. You would use the pattern we're in now, advance it about 60 days, and
Uh-oh.
I thought I locked up. But I guess it was Andy that locked up.
We lost him, huh?
No, see, I'm trying to let Gary just explain. People on Twitter getting all mad. You ought to be all over this guy, and I'm trying. Look, we let everybody just share this story, and Gary's frozen there, and Brian is holding his tongue. Brian has not said a word.
I'm just thinking, what would have happened if I'd gone on doing the weather for Megan on a weekend day 60 days before April 27th and said we were going to have tornadoes on April 27th. You better prepare now. Good Lord. I'd be run out of town and tarred and feathered.
Yeah, and my position, and I don't think we have skill in a specific forecast that far in advance, but let's say that we do. It's a social science question. What do people do with the information? And I don't know. That's an interesting question here, but we'll see if we can get Gary back. I think Gary's at the TV station up there. Maybe somebody I wonder who owns that station. Somebody might have saw the show and just shut him off here.
He did just drop out, so maybe he'll come back.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back. So let's do this while we're waiting for Gary to come back, and I promise I will ask some of the hard questions. Let's take a break now, and we'll play WeatherBrains 101, and we'll do the astronomy report. We'll come back with Gary, and then we'll have picks of the week, the weather roundup, and much more as WeatherBrains rolls along.
WeatherBrains 101 with Professor Peters.
If you are a weather enthusiast and follow any news whatsoever, you've probably heard recently about the dangers of the polar vortex. This is deja vu all over again, since the polar vortex has previously gotten a bad rap and bad press. The polar vortex is actually a large area of low pressure and cold air surrounding both of the Earth's poles. It is always in a position near the poles, but undergoes weakening in the summer and strengthening in the winter. The term vortex simply refers to the counterclockwise flow of air that helps keep the colder air near the poles. Many times during winter in the northern hemisphere, the polar vortex will expand, sending cold air southward with the meandering of the jet stream. This occurs fairly regularly during wintertime and is often associated with large outbreaks of Arctic air in the United States. The one occurring now and the one that occurred in January of 2014 are similar to many other cold outbreaks that have occurred in the past, including notable colder outbreaks in 1977, 1982, 1985, and 1989. The polar vortex is not new. It's just getting more attention for the cold over the U.S. It is also not a feature that exists at the Earth's surface. Meteorologists examine the polar vortex by looking at conditions tens of thousands of feet up in the atmosphere. But when we experience extremely cold air from the Arctic regions at Earth's surface, it is sometimes associated with the movement of the polar vortex. And this feature is not confined to the United States. Portions of Europe and Asia also experience cold surges connected to the polar vortex. By itself, the polar vortex is not some rabid, frozen tornado fixed on destroying the world. The danger to humans is the magnitude of how cold temperatures will get when the polar vortex sends Arctic air southward into areas that are just not typically that cold. So there is no cause to be alarmed when you hear about the polar vortex, but you should be prepared for cold temperatures. Keep current on the latest forecast for your area so you can dress appropriately. And it's a good idea to check the items in your home and car emergency kits at the beginning of each winter to ensure that you are prepared for any type of hazardous winter weather. And oh yes, the official start of winter is just a few days away on December the 21st. Got a weather question? Drop an email to question@weatherbrains.com.
Looking beyond the atmosphere, here's Tony Rice with your Astronomy Outlook.
It was a busy week on the Eastern Range. On December 15th, the Cygnus mission was launched aboard an orbital ATK Pegasus XL rocket. This particular launch was great fun to watch because it was an air-launched rocket, which was carried aloft, slung beneath a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar aircraft. The rocket is dropped on a precise heading and then lights 5 seconds later to speed the payload off into orbit. Then on Sunday, an Atlas V rocket delivered a communications satellite for EchoStar and HughesNet. Now back to that Cygnus mission, it should be of interest to meteorologists, especially along the east and Gulf Coast. This mission will gather data to help improve hurricane intensity, track, and storm surge forecast, which should provide improved pictures of the storm's strength and intensity. Cygnus can also penetrate the heavy rain within a hurricane's eye wall. The mission promises to provide some of the same data that previously has only been able to be obtained in situ by flying aircraft directly above and through these storms. Thomas Zerbatchin, Associate Director for NASA's Science Mission Directorate, described it as a constellation of 8 spacecraft. Cygnus will do what a single craft can't in terms of measuring surface wind speeds inside hurricanes and tropical cyclones. This will improve ability to understand and predict how these deadly storms develop. Stenciled on the nose cone of that Pegasus rocket was the name Matthew, a nod to Hurricane Matthew, which delayed the launch of not only Cygnus, but also GOES-R, when the operations at the Kennedy Space Center were temporarily shut down ahead of Hurricane Matthew's arrival back in October. Elsewhere in the sky, the December solstice arrives on December 21st, Wednesday. Remember, this is an instant in time when the sun is directly over the Tropic of Cancer. This will happen at 10:44 Zulu or 5:44 a.m. Eastern. Now, at that instant in time, a few things are happening. The North Pole is tilted at its furthest, 23.4 degrees away from the sun. Areas south of the Antarctic Circle will receive 24 hours of daylight, and that North Pole will receive no direct sunlight. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we'll see the fewest hours of daylight that day, but the following day, we'll begin receiving a little more each day. That's your Astronomy Outlook. Follow me at RTP Hokie for more spacey stuff like this.
Gary, what'd you do? Hang up on us? Who made you mad? Was it Bill or Rick?
Can you believe that? Oh my gosh, major disaster. The computer restarted. Who knows what I pushed? I don't know.
Gosh.
It's back. I'm back. So anyway, I hope this discussion's making sense to you.
No, we just took a break here. So let me just ask you some. So let's say, what's your verification stats for a 60-day a specific 60-day forecast?
It's about 75-80% accurate, and by accuracy, you're going to look at. Let's say we forecasted your forecast for your February 19th date, and we said it would be around that date. It would be above average on temperatures, and there'd be no chance of snow. Or if we said there'd be a big storm with thunderstorms likely, a heavy rain event, then we would. And you ended up having a heavy rain event, and it was above average temperatures, then we would count that as an accurate forecast. Would you?
Yeah. So you're not doing like a specific high, low. You're just saying temperatures above average, below average, and
Right.
a chance of rain, storms, or snow.
Yeah, either much above, or below, or much below, or near average. And we'll try to get close to the temperature, and then we do a human interpretation of that forecast. We write a whole discussion of what's going to happen that week for your location. That's what we're doing. So 75% accurate. The LRC itself is, as I said, I know it's hard to believe, but it's close to 100% accurate. But that's the atmosphere. The atmosphere is cycling regularly. Our interpretation of it and our forecast based on it are only as good as we as forecasters are. Just like making a 7-day forecast. I believe our 30 to 60 to 100-day forecast can be just as accurate as a 7-day forecast is. And as you know, those are still challenging.
So what's the weather going to be like for the home opener for the Royals?
I've got to go look at the date, but I'm going to make that forecast. I'll make the forecast.
Now, do you do that like on television? And if so, how far in advance do you do that?
By January, first week of January, we'll put it out there. But we'll put the home opener for every home opener across the whole United States. And for example, one of the forecasts we made was this summer, for I think it was Carolina at Denver for the first game of the NFL season. We made a perfect forecast for that 2 months before. And so
the next question, if this works so well,
mm-hmm.
are you planning to do a peer-reviewed paper and submit this to the Weather Enterprise for the world to see, or is this something that you're just going to keep for your business and kind of proprietary, and it's like Kentucky Fried Chicken, nobody's going to know how it's made?
I've been trying to give it away. I just tried to give it away to you, James, but no. I have a business. It's Weather 2020 LLC, weather2020.com. We have a brand new website coming out in a couple of days. So absolutely, I have a business enterprise. But I also went down to the University of Oklahoma in January. It's almost a year ago. We talked to Howie Bluestein, and I did a whole presentation with Howie showing him the LRC. And by the end of that conversation, and Howie will tell you, hey, Gary, you've convinced me. I showed him this whole presentation. And so he wants to go do some research on it. But, I'm doing research on it. I do have a peer review paper that I'm working with a stats professor at Ottawa University. It's called Cyclicality of Patterns of Validation of the LRC. That should come out here pretty soon. I'll share it with you. And so we got some things in the works. But for my business, think about the advantage it would be for a trader, for a commodities trader, for a propane company, for energy companies, for agriculture, for farmers. Think about it. Farmers would eat this stuff up. Right now, we can go down to the zip code using this technology, and that's the one thing I've advanced in the last couple of years. We now have an automated system that can give you a forecast for high temperatures, for low temperatures, for heating degree days, cooling degree days, growing degree days that go out from January all the way to September. And my site's coming out, weather2020.com, guys, in just 2 days. We have our brand new site. And for a low price, you can get this. But am I sharing it? Yes, I'm trying to share it with the world as well. So the motivation, this is something for all of us to use. You can utilize it. Here's how you can utilize it in your market right now, guys and girls. Let me just tell you, here's how you do it. If you know, for example, last week, Kansas City was forecasted by the GFS and European model to have a major snowstorm this weekend. That big storm that's dropping into the southwestern part of the country was forecast to come through and give us a major snowstorm. So my competitors, to this moment, even tonight, I just got a Facebook message from somebody saying, how come you're forecasting 63 this weekend and they're forecasting a snowstorm on Christmas? I go, I know. I'm like, why do you watch those other people? So, but if you know the LRC, you know the pattern, then you know when the GFS model shows a storm for your location, a big storm, does it fit? You can go back to the previous cycles, and if it fits, then you go, oh my gosh, this storm could hit us. And if it doesn't fit, like I knew this storm would go to our north and west, it's not going to drop to our south and east. Is there a chance? Yes, because I get computer modelitis just like everybody. But I know 95% chance it's going to go to our north and it's going to draw up the warm air. And we're going to go from -9 yesterday to 60 on Saturday night or Sunday morning. And the Chiefs-Broncos game is going to be affected. So you can use it by knowing what the pattern was to know if the models are right. The models will have errors, and you can use the LRC for that.
And again, for those that don't know, because some people maybe didn't hear the first episode that you were on, this is the LISAC recurring cycle. That's what LRC stands for, right?
Yes, the LRC was named by my bloggers about 12, 13 years ago. I just call it the theory. Whatever it's called someday, who knows? But yeah, that's what it's called, the LRC.
So what's your biggest forecast bust? What's the biggest event that's gone wrong with it?
Last year. And let me just tell you, last year I used it really well. I predicted a major storm, and it was El Nino. So I thought it would produce a big snowstorm in this next cycle, but the storm came through. Here's what's so amazing. I made the forecast 15, 20 days, 30 days before that this storm would possibly hit. We'd have a snowstorm in Kansas City. And then 5 days before, I realized, it's going to go up across southern Nebraska and miss us. So 5 days before, I made the right call. I said it's going to miss us. But we've been so good at making these forecasts on the air here, people said we blew it. I go, no, I'm making the right forecast 5 days before. But when you're in the business of making long-range forecasts, the standards seem to be higher for some reason. And so, but that storm did hit, and it rained in Kansas City. It just didn't snow. It was too warm.
So Gary, you still calling for 60 on Saturday?
Yeah.
And the Saturday, Sunday, 42, so this is a good showdown. Loser leave town match.
Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll see if it draws up enough warm air. What's amazing is the Gulf of Mexico just got worked over, and yet 60 dew points are forecast to surge north ahead of this storm because it drops into the southwest and it just pulls it up. So whether it gets up to 60 or 50, either way, it's a dramatic change.
That's my point from earlier about the Gulf. That's what really concerns me, because that seems to be the key to me when we get big severe weather outbreaks down here is, even on April 3rd, 1974, the system had scoured out the southeast a couple of days in advance, but the Gulf was, waiting and primed and ready to send those 65, 70 degree dew points back north. And we got the results that we got because of that. And I kind of fear that's what's going to happen this year.
Well, look at the recovery right now. This is important for next spring. The recovery, if we go up to 60 or 65 dew point after it was -9 degrees, number one, everything's just, we're going to what we call the ground sweats here. The ground's so cold that it'll cause everything to get wet here. But that's going to be fascinating. I want that to happen because it'd be fun to see it happen.
So James, are you still back there behind your?
He's eating popcorn.
No, I'm just sitting here. So explain. Let's say Joe Q Public wants to get your data. We live in an app world. This piece I'm seeing, it's One Weather adds 12-week forecasts with your technology. What is that? The app people use is something called One Weather. I've never heard of that.
The One Weather app. It's one of the more popular apps in the world, and they have a few million downloads. So pretty good. But we're in there. We have our 12-week forecast in there. So that's one way you can access the 12-week forecasts. And for businesses, you come to weather2020.com. We'll give you a consultation. As I said, my new website is probably 2 days away from launching. When we launch this website, I'm finally going to have stuff on there for free that you can see my past reports, my winter forecast, our winter forecast. We have a team of 5 meteorologists that know the LRC so well. And so we have a group that is analyzing it every day. But you can get free reports on there. So in a couple days, you'll be able to go there, see what my thoughts are for the winter. We picked out this Arctic blast, in our winter forecast a month ago. But you can go back and look at it and see our reports. Now, if you want to join, it'll cost a little money. I think we're going to charge about $2,000 per zip code, but the business client, that's nothing to them. And they will get forecasts from now through September for high temperatures, low temperatures, and as I said, the most important heating degree days for the energy companies, cooling degree days. And the forecasts will be right. They're automated using the LRC. So I have an automated system now, but the human element is still so important. You talk about crap apps, whatever you said. I want to read your article, but it's true. Everything that's computer generated is just not any good. And this is why we in our careers deal with everyone thinking the weather person can't get it right, because first of all, they're using apps now and they're wrong all the time. So anyway, that's what you can do with Weather 2020. And James, I wrote a book. Did you hear about the book?
No.
It's like you're almost on the cover. It's me, but it looks like you a little bit.
No, you're a better looking guy.
Look at that. Can you see it at all? Look.
It's a sunny life.
It's a sunny life. See that? And it's a book. It's a children's story about my weather dogs. I've had Wendy, who was famous on Oprah and Animal Planet back in the 1990s. Stormy, great weather dog for 15 years for me. And I got Breezy, who's a dysfunctional dog at home who doesn't go to school with me at appearances. But I've got Sunny, this new dog, Sunny. And it's sort of about an adventure, a children's story that we wrote about adopting Sunny, going on an adventure to the Rocky Mountains to bond. A snowstorm happens, a thunderstorm happens. And here, I'm going to show you this. Let me just show you this one page. Bill, you read the book, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Really, really cool kids book.
You like it? So inside, we go to the Rocky Mountains, and it's really cool. There's like this thunderstorm that builds up, and Sunny slips her collar, and she's running away. Beautifully illustrated by Rob Peters. But look at that. She's running away, and she ends up in a cave where she's crying because she's lost her family. And then it ends up having a happy ending. And then after the story's over, I got a section on my favorite thing, clouds, precipitation, storms. Clouds are my favorite thing, guys. That's the basics of meteorology. So I got a section in there, but it's called It's a Sunny Life.
So will Sunny use the LRC next year so she doesn't get trapped in a cave?
I know. That's why I didn't get that into the book.
So you got a real love for dogs, obviously, Gary. Talk about that for a second.
I love my dogs. My big charity organizations are Wayside Waves and the Humane Society, 2 animal shelters here in Kansas City. I've hosted the Kansas City Pet Telethon for 16 years now. I think it's the 16th annual or the 17th annual coming up. Yeah, it's the 17th annual because it's 2017. So we'll be doing that in February, but we raise money for the Humane Society. But I love the animal causes, and I've got a little Sunny who's 1.5 years old, and Breezy who's going to turn 11 on Christmas Day. So love my doggies.
So Gary, the TV station's okay with all the LRC activities, and different things you're doing?
Yeah, who owns that station?
Yeah, it's Scripps Howard Broadcasting.
Okay, so now on your TV show tonight, like at 10 o'clock,
Right.
do you do forecast beyond 7 days? Do you use this stuff on TV?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll be making a forecast for, all the way through next year. But, depends on what people want. But, absolutely. I'll do it. But can I say.
Like tonight at 10, what's your ending graphic? Because most guys, wind up with a 7-day graphic. How do you wrap yours up?
7-day graphic. I don't do and here's your 100-day forecast.
Yeah, you'd be there all night.
I ask for 7 minutes every night, but they don't give it to me.
So do you plan on, what's the end game here? Do you want to be bought out by AccuWeather or the weather company or some other big boy, or what's the end game for you?
I think that this has been a life quest for me for a long time. So I imagine I'll be involved with it all the way through. Now, as our new products come out here in 2 days that we've been working so hard at, we have big grand plans. And I think that, maybe 3 years from now, 5 years from now, that could be part of the plan. Maybe we get bought out, but we'll see. Right now, we just want to make a successful company. James, I'm in a 9-year startup. Okay, 9 years. So, has my bosses, have they let me talk about Weather 2020 on the air? No. But did I talk about WeatherBrains on the air tonight? Sure. So, but they don't let me talk about my own company. They let me talk about the LRC though. Okay.
So now I would love to see Gary and Chuck Doswell in a discussion over this. Do you know Chuck, Gary?
I've met Chuck many, many years ago, but love it. I would entertain that. That would be great. Let's do one-on-one, me and Chuck.
No, I want to get you guys on the show here and get you guys going back and forth. That'd be some fun stuff to watch.
Absolutely.
So how's business? How many subscribers do you have?
Well, I've got, my blog is a pay blog at Weather 2020, and we've got 1,000 customers there, and then this customer base is very low. We're just really launching this product in 2 days. So just a handful, 10, 12 customers, we get them to see how valuable this is, and then we'll grow exponentially. 2017 should be a very good year.
So have you talked with AccuWeather about this? Have they tried to break your legs? Because they seem like they're the competing entity. They've got a 90-day forecast, and you got one going here.
Yeah, they don't. No one has used this new technology. I believe everyone should be using it. But no, I haven't contacted them, and with Weather Bell and Joe Bastardi, I haven't contacted him. He's got his ideas. I hear about their forecasts all the time. And of course, just like you, I think they're flawed. Absolutely. So I'm with you on a lot of these long range forecasts. This system, is it flawed? As I said, the LRC is close to 100% accurate. I'll show you, but it's really complex. It is a big puzzle. We're finding the organization to the chaos in the atmosphere. So it's brand new. If what I have is real, which of course I believe it is, and we believe it is, and we have a whole team behind us, other meteorologists around the nation, some of your peers, and it's going to be the new standard in forecasting. We're really changing the face of meteorology here in the next 30 years. It's going to take a while. It's new. It's a discovery.
And how do you do your verification statistics? You say it's almost 100% accurate. How do you do those statistics on kind of a forecast of below or average temperatures or above average? How do you do that? How far back does your verification data go?
Well, we can backtrack over the last 50 years, but it's not, our forecasts are not near 100% accurate. It's the cycling weather pattern. Like, for example, the moon cycles around the Earth every 27.2 8 days or whatever. The Earth rotates around the sun every 365 days, and the Earth spins every 24 hours. It is regular. It is exact. That is 100%. That's how astronomers know there's going to be a total eclipse of the sun right over Kansas City, heading your way on August 17th, I think it is. Might be 21st. But they know when that's going to happen exactly. How do astronomers know that? Because there's these perfect cycles up there. They are perfect. So why wouldn't the weather pattern also be cycling? That's what I'm trying to describe. It is. It's cycling that regularly. However, it's a fluid. It's a fluid, so it oscillates while it's cycling. That's how it varies from cycle to cycle. And then you have these other influences like the Arctic Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillations, PNA, El Nino, La Nina, other sea surface temperatures, etc., land air mass differences. And those are influences on whether there might be blocking. Because if we get an AO negative and this part of the pattern happened just now, it would have been even colder. It would have been locked in, and the storm systems would have been stronger. If you notice, these storm systems haven't been that powerful. Have you heard of 25-inch snows? We've heard 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch snows here, besides lake effect. They've been small storm systems. So there's other influences to the pattern. So what I'm trying to describe and share with you is that it is cycling regularly up there, and it's close to 100%, just like the Earth rotating around the sun. But my forecast based on that for every location from Europe to Asia, all the way across to the United States, those are challenging. And we're still in the 60 to 75, maybe even 75 to 80% range of being accurate.
Okay, let me just ask you one more question. Let's say you knew about the El Reno tornado day far in advance, 60 days in advance.
300 days.
300, almost a year.
Yep.
So would you, in this case, sell that only to your clients, give that to the people that pay for it? Or would you pick up the phone and call Rick Smith and say, hey, you're going to have a deadly tornado day 300 days out?
You probably need that much time to change the schedule, Rick.
The government should be one of our customers. Absolutely. I mean, I can show you. I can sit down and show you how we did it. You take a look at the Superstorm Sandy part of the pattern, and you project that pattern forward if you know it's a 53.5-day cycle, and then you would come up with May 31st. Maybe not 300 days before, even though you can go back and look, oh my gosh, that was 300 days ago. But by around January, you can project to May and absolutely make that forecast. So
but
yes,
again, to me, though, if you know it's going to be that kind of day, and you're saying the government should be a subscriber, but still, don't you have an ethical responsibility to call Rick and say, hey, you're the WCM, you got a big day coming up?
Sure, absolutely, and I'll do it.
Okay, Rick, give Gary your number. So when's the next big tornado day for the Dixie Alley and the Great Plains?
Again,
See, I'm gonna pin you down to this now.
No, I'll get that to you in the next day or two. I have to go look at the pattern. I can't just tell you off the top of my head. It's rather complex, but I can tell you that based on the patterns we're seeing right now. Look at this. Look at the setup we just had this weekend, where it was -5 up in Bismarck and 75 in Little Rock, Arkansas at the same time. We had this powerful 980 surface low tracking across eastern Colorado, and we had this strong warm front. There wasn't much moisture for it to work with. Take that same setup, and if it's close to a 60-day cycle, and let's go, let's see, December 17th, the day the snowflake contest ended here, you go January, February, March, April, May, June. So June 17th, around April 17th, that pattern will be returning around April 17th, give or take a few days. I have to go get the exact date. But this part of the pattern will return then and likely produced a potential severe weather outbreak. So
okay,
yeah, Rick, I'm going to call you. I'll let you know.
There you go. All right. Well, let's take a break here. Let's see. Aubrey, you're locked out of your email. How did this happen?
Hi, Aubrey.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I don't know. It won't open. I haven't been able to get into it for like 30 minutes.
It's Russian
Wow.
crackers.
I don't know. I did not put in the wrong password so many times.
Wow. Well, that's cool. Well, let's do the weather roundup here.
When the weather ball is red, warmer weather is ahead. When the weather ball is white, colder weather is in sight. When the weather ball is green, no change in the weather is foreseen. When colors blink by night or day, precipitation's on the way.
This is the roundup for December 19th, 2016. And we are coming over some of the coldest air we've seen in a while. Rick, how long has it been since it was that cold in Oklahoma City? Whoop, Rick's got to
trying to get unmuted there. Different parts of the state, it had been about 2 years for some parts of the area. Been quite a while. I think late 2015, something like that. But yeah, it's not unheard of, but it's been a while since it's been that cold.
Gary, what was your low up there in Kansas City?
It was -9 and the coldest temperature since December of 1989. For December, it's been this cold in January and February, but for December, it's the coldest since that big outbreak in 1989.
Wow. And I saw some -30 Fahrenheit observations in parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota, just brutal. And that air will be modifying. It looks like kind of a pattern flip as we're getting a ridge rebuilding down here where we are. Mm-hmm. And that's going to bring no chance for a white Christmas. We actually had snow down here in the Deep South 6 years ago in 2010 on Christmas Day, but it ain't happening this year. If you wanted snow, head north. It does look like there might be a Christmas Day Mid-America system that would put snow up near the Canadian border and the Minnesota and the Dakotas with maybe some thunderstorms toward you, Gary. What do you think about Christmas weekend?
Well, that's what I think is going to be, that storm's going to dig into the Southwest real hard, and then it's going to lift up across the Western Plains. So Colorado's probably going to have a good snow out of it. They need it in the ski areas. That'll be good for them. But then, the Northern Plains, and that's what's going to draw in the warm air up through the Great Lakes and through you. It'll bring in some really warm air out ahead of it.
Yep. And Aubrey, what, you got any snow for Christmas where you are? It looks like the pattern's going to warm up there too, huh?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be warm, and I'm looking at a record. I think the day after Christmas is 68 degrees, and we forecast 67. So easily the day after Christmas we could be tying or breaking a record. But it should be a pretty nice Christmas weekend. At least travel issues should be kept to a minimum with some rain, maybe some storms, but rain. But overall, travel in the East Coast might not be the worst this year.
Yep, and I saw Bastardi today tweeting, Gary, that the Arctic is going to be open again in mid-January. You're saying it's going to be a month after that?
Mid-January is going to be like mid-November. Do you remember what happened in November? The 5th warmest in the globe, around the globe ever. I guess that report came out today. 5th warmest November ever. And so that part of the pattern will be coming back in January. So he will be wrong.
Ooh.
If we had Joe and Gary on at the same time.
Now we need Joe Bastardi, Gary, and Chuck Doswell.
Yes.
Oh my.
Oh my word.
And we'll compare the accurate forecasts.
Wow.
Showtime and charge for it.
I'm about to say we might. Yeah, that would be a. We probably couldn't put it on television. The language might get kind of rough with Chuck on here.
That's why I said we had to have it on Showtime.
I think we should do it. Let's do it.
No, Bill, we got to make that happen. We need to do a show, and this needs to be one that starts early with Gary, Joe, and Chuck, and we're just going to sit back and let them have at it. And
we're gonna
whatever
need
happens.
We're going to need promos leading up to it. Lots of promos.
We're going to have a referee
John
too.
Cena music.
My dog Sonny could be the halftime entertainment.
There you go.
All right, we'll bring in Bear. Then we can have two, Sunny and Bear.
There you go.
Very good.
All right. Well, again, since Aubrey's locked out of her email, the rush.
I don't have anything.
Do what now?
I said I don't have anything.
No, it's not happening. So we'll do a triple email segment next week. So let's do picks of the week. This is where we go around the horn. Everybody shares something related to weather, a website, hardware, software, books, anything to do with weather. And my pick of the week, the SPC guys have a wealth of information on their site. I mean, it is just a smorgasbord, a potpourri of information. And they've got some experimental products, and if you dig into the experimental part of their page, they've got some pretty good stuff. A lot of people don't have a subscription to like a Weather Bell, but they've got some really good HRRR graphics, the high-resolution rapid refresh model, and it's on the SPC page, free for all. And the link to that will be up on our website, weatherbrains.com. Brian Peters, what's your pick of the week?
Well, mine is going to edge in the direction of the oceans. Ran across a very interesting article about the largest wave to ever occur in the Atlantic. And it occurred actually back in 2013, but it's taken a while to be able to confirm and to, verify it. So I'll have, it's a kind of a long link off of CNN site, but it's a really interesting read about that big wave. So.
Awesome. And again, this will be up on weatherbrains.com. Aubrey, what's your pick of the week?
My pick is, since it's Christmas season already, the odds of a white Christmas from NCDC, for most areas, they're slim to none.
I'm going to throw a foul.
What?
You do know that they changed their name.
Why? Oh, did they really? You're kidding me.
No.
What is it?
What is it now?
NCIE.
No.
What?
No, I don't like it. Tell them to take it back.
I want them to take it back too.
Classic.
Why? Why would you do that?
I don't know.
It's like MCS to MCV to squall line to mezzo whatever.
Yes, it's still a squall line. It's not a QLCS. It's a squall line.
And then there's HPC and the whatever. Stop changing things. Here's a note to people. Stop changing things.
Actually, it was your POW, your pick of the week, that made me note that they have changed their name.
Well, I'm not mad at you, Brian. I'm mad at them.
Don't shoot the messenger, Aubrey. Don't shoot the messenger. I got my hands up.
Just be mad at Brian.
Tell the big bosses, stop changing things. Stop changing names. Stop changing things. All right. But yeah, so it's NCIE, whatever they're called now.
Yes.
Anyways,
it's EI. I'm sorry.
See, there you go. There's your problem. I before E, except after NCDC. Oh my!
Show title.
That's a show title.
That's definitely.
Now I'm on a rant. But I know for us, people think, winter, still in Virginia, you can get a white Christmas, but our odds of a white Christmas are pretty much the same as snow in April, but low odds. So just something to ponder.
All right, Rick Smith, what's your pick of the week?
Well, you had an SPC pick. I've also got an SPC pick on their website. It's a little hard to find on the website, but the show notes will have the direct link to their newsletters, their third issue called The Convective Watcher. And it's just 12 pages of all kinds of cool stuff, statistics for the summer, preliminary reports, articles about cool seasons, severe storms, graphs, charts. You will geek out for many dozens of minutes in the newsletter here. Lots of cool stuff with lots of our friends from the SPC. So, and this is a quarterly newsletter, so you can find it if you dig around long enough on their webpage. But like I said, the show notes will have the direct link to issue 3, which was the December 2016 issue.
Rick, do they send that out, or is it just on their webpage?
I've only seen it on the webpage, and I saw Jared Geyer tweet it this afternoon. That's how I knew about it. So
okay.
I don't know if there's a subscription option, but I would subscribe if there was, because there's some good stuff in there.
And if you see a subscription option, you let me know, because I would like to subscribe to it too.
Yep,
like you say, you can geek out for a long time on that page.
Yep, lots of cool stuff in there. I'll do that.
Hey, we announced the new WCM at SPC on this show. Is that official?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Patrick Marsh took Greg's place as the WCM, and I think that's a great choice. He's going to do a great job.
Yeah, I think officially he starts in that position
Christmas
next
Day.
week, Christmas Day. Yeah, that pay period. So
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
I saw. Speaking of Greg, he'll be on our year ender, which we'll be producing here soon. All right, Gary, we tried to stall as long as we can, so give us a pick of the week. Give us something good.
Well, my favorite news site, because some of the sites have gotten a little bit slow with so much traffic, I think, but Tropical Tidbits. Do you ever go there? Tropical Tidbits.
Levi Cowan.
I think so. But Tropical Tidbits is a really good site for the models. So for those of you weather enthusiasts, it's fast. It comes in early. The GFS is coming out right now, and it's a really cool site. They have all kinds of parameters on there. So Tropical Tidbits would be my pick of the week.
Awesome. Bill Murray, what you got?
Well, I'll take the Foghorn for my pick, James.
What?
I
goodness, I'm in the wrong.
But I got some great guests, James. You want to hear about them?
Yes, please.
Well, the big breaking news is that Laura Fergione is leaving the National Weather Service, and it was announced today there that she's heading over to Census. So we were looking to have her on the show to talk about the Evolve NWS program. So now we're having John Murphy, who's the COO of the National Weather Service, and who knew they even had such a thing. But he will join us on January the 10th. Before that, Kevin Laws and Laura Myers will join us on January 3rd. And, of course, James, you already alluded to the fact that we'll have Greg on for the year-ender on Wednesday night. We'll record it at 7, but, of course, it'll be released into the wild at its normal time. William Haggard, weather in the courtroom, will be on with us on January the 16th, and Stephen Kearney will join us to talk about aviation on the 23rd. So we've got a date open at the end of the month, but we've just about booked all of January, and that's the guests that are coming up on WeatherBrains, James.
I think on that open date, we ought to get Doswell and Joe Bastardi and Gary on that night.
I will start working on that tomorrow. Gary, you up for it?
I'm all for it. That would be great. I'd love to have the debate.
Wow, that'd be
and John
awesome.
Zena. Can I get John Zena? Would that be okay?
Let's do it.
And again, as Bill said, just for logistical purposes, again, we're doing this show on the 19th of December. Due to vacation, we are going to do the annual year-ender Wednesday of this week. That is December 21st. We're going to do it at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time for those that like to watch live. And that's where Greg Carbon comes on the show, and he goes through the top 10 weather events of the year, which is always a great show. And, of course, Greg is now the Grand Poobah at the Weather Service. He's moved on, but he's still willing to come. What is his title? Anybody know his official title?
Grand Poobah. That's
Grand Poobah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I like
Are they
Poobah better.
still calling it the National Weather Service now? Or are they changing it?
In NCIS.
In the Weather Service's title we just call it a GPM, Grand Poobah Meteorologist.
There you go.
Gotta get it
But
down
anyway,
to an acronym.
If you never heard Greg, he does a great job of going through the top 10 events of the year. And at the conferences, he really can't finish it because the year's not over. But now the year's over, and that's always our annual year-ender. And then we'll come back with the next regular show in 2017 in early January. And I guess we're on a Monday night, Bill, or a Tuesday?
No, that'll be on Tuesday, January 3rd, James, because there'll be bowl game on Monday night, January 2nd, unless you overrule my scheduling.
No. That's cool. That's cool. So that's where we stand here. And let's see, Gary, you got some TV to do, right?
Yeah, I'm off the top. 10 o'clock.
Is this your office in there? I mean,
this is my weather office. Do you have windows? I actually have full windows now after all these years.
Windows?
I have an office.
Wow.
Look at this. Windows. See that?
None of us have windows.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
wow.
this is my weather office. Can you believe that?
In my life have I had a window.
My news director was very reluctant to give me this room, but I got it.
So I'm in a closet with this blue background thing back here. This is my weather window here. So yeah, and I'm the lead in our cast here too. So we got to roll this thing out of here. But the deal is we're typically on every Monday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, live.bigbrainsmedia.com. Our email address, it is email@weatherbrains.com. All the links and the show notes will be up on the website as well. The social media accounts are there. And as we typically do for the Christmas, we're going to roll out with some music here. We thank everybody for listening and for another really good year. It's been a fun year. Gary, thanks a lot for coming on the show. I had a good time talking with you tonight.
Honored to be here.
Okay, and from all of us, the WeatherBrains gang, we wish you and your family a very, very Merry Christmas. God bless all of you.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out.
Guys, have a great show.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang your shining star above the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas.